Greetings and salutations, comic book conversationalists. This is Comic Book Hangover once again. My name is Scott, and here we go with a, it's actually going to be the first weekly haul video for the month of August. It's the second week of August. I didn't do a video last week because I only got 4 books, one of which was a variant cover, so I only technically got 3 books. So instead of doing a video, I decided to hold off until this week. So I'm thinking what I'm going to start doing is on these weeks where I get like 3 or 4 books or less, I'm just going to hold off until the next week and then do everything all together all at once. So I may not be doing weekly haul videos every week. I'm going to try. I'm going to see what we can do. But other than my books, my regular books that I picked up last week, I did pick up 2 posters. I grabbed the poster that was the cover for Amazing Spider-Man 300. They call it the facsimile edition poster. I grabbed that, and then I grabbed the poster that is the cover for Ghost Rider Wolverine Weapons of Vengeance Alpha, which is a big, it's not a big, but it's a 4-part crossover between Wolverine and Ghost Rider, and they did. Ryan Stegman did the cover of the first issue, and they made a poster out of it, so I had to grab it because it's a Ghost Rider poster. So that said, the other books, the actual books that I picked up last week, from Marvel, we have Warlock Rebirth number 5, which I'm still digging these corner boxes here. I love seeing that old school it was the 90s Warlock logo, so I do like that logo. But we got the final issue of that. We got Doctor Strange number 6, another great cover on that series. I'm really loving the covers on this series, so it's great. Even though the story, I'm not sure where they're going with the story, I'm enjoying it. This issue here, of course, is the origin of a character we know as General Strange. It's Doctor Strange that was in the war between the Vishanti and these other mystical characters, and it lasted for like 5,000 or 7,000 years. And over that time, he didn't age because of the Vishanti, but his temperament and his mentality changed. So he stopped calling himself Doctor Strange and started calling himself General Strange. So this is his origin. It's a good thing to have there. The other book that I picked up from DC. It was the Omega Men number 3, the facsimile edition. First appearance of Lobo. Now, I do have the original of this signed by Keith Giffen, but I like getting the facsimiles as well. But I also wound up, as much as I hate the idea of them doing variant covers for facsimiles, I still grabbed the foil variant for Omega Men number 3. I still think it's a dumb idea to do these things, but you know what? They got me. Okay, I can't help it. They got me. There's also this. It was a freebie that my LCS had last week. I didn't see them on the counter this week, so they might have given them all away. Earth Divers Past, Present, and Future Ashcan. So I'm gonna read this one. I don't know anything about this Earth Divers series. I've never. I know I've done the solicitations for my LCS, but I've never read them. So I figured, I'm gonna check it out and see what that's like. Now, we'll get into this facsimile thing here in a second, but let's talk about the books that I picked up this week. And you know what? This is one of those rare new release weeks for me because I got a lot of Marvel books. This is one of those rare weeks where I actually got more Marvel than anything else. Actually, the only non-Marvel book that I grabbed this week was from IDW, and it was Godzilla Here There Be Giants number 2. I love that cover. And it's it's a great time to be a Godzilla fan. So we've got these comic books coming out from IDW. They've got some trade paperbacks coming out. Actually, I saw that IDW is starting to collect their whole run of their Godzilla books, and they're doing them in volumes. I did pre-order the first volume of it, because even though I had them individually, they're doing new covers, and it's kind of nice to have all those miniseries all in one spot as well. But that is actually the only non-Marvel book that I picked up this week. I did grab, let's see here, I got the Ghost Rider Wolverine Weapons of Vengeance number 1, and actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think that cover, that Ghost Rider Wolverine poster, I think that's the cover for the Omega issue I'm not sure. So it's either the Alpha issue or the Omega issue. Regardless, you saw the image. That's what it was. But this is the one cover I picked up for Ghost Rider Wolverine Weapons of Vengeance Alpha. I also grabbed the Mark Texeira cover because I'm an old school Mark Texeira fan, especially when he's drawing Ghost Rider, specifically the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider, which we have here. That's his look there. I've always loved the way Tex drew and painted that character. I've got a couple of posters floating around that he did. I've got some signatures on Ghost Rider number 15, the glow-in-the-dark cover. I actually have two different covers. I have two copies of that signed by him from different years. But it's just, I just love that look, because that's the character right there that got me into comic books back in 1990. So I had to grab that. I grabbed this one here, this What If Dark. This What If Dark series, it's kind of interesting. I read the first two. I read the Loki and I read the Spider-Gwen one, and they were fun. They were interesting. Nothing really worth writing home about. Really nothing groundbreaking. Nothing really over-the-top memorable. They were just good, fun, one-and-done stories. The way we used to have with the What If. So really, they didn't really seem to have any interest in any world building with those issues, which I think is great. But it's again, nothing worth writing home about them, but they're good, fun stories. So I decided to pick up this one here. I got this cover. This actually came out, I think, last week. This is What If Dark Venom. And I grabbed this variant cover because, again, it's got that corner box on there. I love the Marvel corner boxes. I love a Marvel comic book cover that looks like a classic Marvel comic book cover. The last one that I picked up this week was a facsimile edition, Werewolf by Night number 33. And of course, and as always, what I like to do is point out how you can tell the difference between a Marvel facsimile edition and an original print. The three things you're going to look for is the sale sticker, the sale price there, $3.99. Especially when you get a book from this era, that was not $3.99. That would have been way too expensive. You got the UPC box. It's always going to be a slim box, and it will always hug the edge of the comic book cover. And then, of course, they're always going to put the modern day Marvel logo on there. DC, however, the only way you could tell the difference is by the cover price, which I guess is kind of cool, because especially in these older ones here, when they reprint a newer one, it's a little bit harder to tell, but when they reprint the older ones, it's a lot easier to tell the difference between an original and a facsimile. And I wish there was a way for DC to do a little something on the cover, even if it is putting a UPC box on the front, or doing a little semi-transparent DC, the modern DC logo. Put that down and put it down like in a corner here, make it semi-transparent so it doesn't actually interfere with the cover art at all. But it is what it is. Always look at those cover prices, though, especially when you get in the older books like that. Always look at the cover price. If it says $3.99 or $4.99, you're getting yourself a facsimile, and don't pay top dollar for it. Pay cover price for it. All right. The last book that I got actually wasn't one that I picked up. It wasn't on my pull list, but I did win through the raffle of my LCS, and that is Magneto #1. Again, another one of these books. I don't know anything about it. I'm not an X-Men fan, so I don't pay attention to that sort of stuff. But I'm gonna check this out because I got it, And I mean, sometimes it works out to where the books are end up being really interesting. Like I won the first issue of Titans, and that was actually a pretty interesting read. So I picked up the second issue, and that was also an interesting read. And I was going to grab the third issue, but then they decided to do this Night Terrors thing, which hijacked the entire DC line, meaning that for 2 months there were no new issues coming out. So sorry, DC, but I've lost interest in Titans, so that's not going to be getting added to my pull list at all. Now, for the cover of the week this week, we are going to go with Ghost Rider Wolverine Weapons of Vengeance, the Mark Texeira variant cover, because I gotta go with my Ghost Rider. I can't not do it. But that is it. So that was 2 weeks worth. I don't know what's going on with my pull list lately. I keep adding books, but I guess I keep dropping a lot of books as well. I've dropped quite a few, and we got a bunch of mini-series that have recently ended, so I guess that means I'm getting fewer books. But we've got the Energon universe starting up in a couple of months. We've got I'm going to check out the first issue or two of Sensational She-Hulk, even though the current run was canceled. Presumably because it wasn't selling very well. So their answer to that is to relaunch it with a new title, but with the same creative team. My hope is that even though we've got the same creative team, my hope is that they actually do something with the book. The main reason why I dropped She-Hulk was because nothing was happening. Absolutely nothing happened in that story, in that series, and it was boring. And then I think the thing that clinched it for me was when they did a variant cover that was She-Hulk doing laundry. That was your variant cover. That was your special cover that you wanted readers to get. She-Hulk doing her laundry. That right there is like, I'm done. I'm not doing this. I want my comic books to actually have some action, some fun. You can do the story stuff too. Yes, of course, we need the stories. But when you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 issues and nothing happens, it's time to get a new creative team. It's time to get a new writer. The art was all right, but honestly, I want to check out the first issue, maybe the first 2 issues, but I'm not expecting anything to be any different than from the She-Hulk series that I just could not stand. But that said, I hope everybody had a great new comic book day yesterday. I was able to get a Ghost Rider. I was able to get a Godzilla, so I was happy with that. That said, everybody have a great weekend. I will see everybody next week with another new comic book haul. Have a great weekend.